The Pittsburgh Steelers have signed 5 players in undrafted free agency after the conclusion of the 2024 NFL Draft, which is kind of a shorter list than usual for the Steelers, but I do think they had some very interesting signings here that is definitely worth talking about. We talked about, kind of glazed over these 5 players in my reaction video to the UDFAs yesterday, but today I want to go a little bit more in depth because I really like some of the talent here, and I think there's some players that could make the final 53-man roster for your Pittsburgh Steelers. Before we get into the UDFAs today and some pretty interesting names here, go ahead and click that thumbs up icon if you haven't already, because we are doing a like battle with our frenemies here with the Browns Report from Chat Sports. And Matthew Peterson, host of the Browns Report, says there's no way Steelers Talk fans are going to beat the Browns Report's really impressive 1,387 likes from yesterday's video. He even went as far to say this: once again, the Steelers stunk it up at the NFL Draft. Fontenot and Peyton Wilson can't and won't stay healthy. Frazier looks like a hillbilly. Wilson is tiny, talking about Roman Wilson there, and will get crushed by the NFL. And they still don't have a number 2 wide receiver or a number 3 cornerback. Good luck in the basement of the division, Steelers fans. So if you want to shut Matthew Peterson up right now, click that thumbs up icon. Help us win this like battle right now. Coop, you got anything to say about these fraudulent Browns fans that think they can beat us?
Yeah, enjoy your quarterback that you're paying $230 million for that absolutely stinks. I don't think he would even be the Steelers' QB3, so good luck with that, Petey.
Good luck with that, Browns Report. Steelers fans, get down there right now. It takes half a second of your time to click that thumbs up icon. I greatly appreciate it, and let's beat the Browns. All right, so now let's start with the first quarterback here. John Rhys Plumlee here out of UCF, the quarterback. Now, what's interesting about this signing in particular, and yes, I am giving it an A grade here because I think Plumlee actually has a pretty decent chance to make the final 53-man roster, because the Steelers kind of gave Plumlee a unprecedented signing bonus in terms of what the Steelers usually give for their UDFAs. $35,000 signing bonus, which is, like I said, kind of unheard of for Art Rooney and the Steelers here to pony up that kind of dough. So that tells me that the Steelers definitely see something in John Rhys Plumlee here. He's athletic, and some scouts even believe he should make a move to wide receiver. But I think his combination of athleticism along with his pass-playing quarterback there for UCF, he also played baseball. He's a 2-sport athlete, played center field. So as a wide receiver, I think that, as a center fielder, he had to kind of track the baseball back in the outfield. I think as a wide receiver, that makes sense as a transition point there. So I think the Steelers will try him out at quarterback. They'll try him out at wide receiver. They'll see if they can kind of turn him into a little bit of an offensive weapon. I think he'll probably play a little bit of special teams as well. And because there's so many things that Plumlee could do and so many roles that he could fill on this roster, I think that he makes the roster. And some people are talking here that he might be the next Taysom Hill in the National Football League, as somebody that can come in as a really solid rusher of the football, that can also throw the ball, can also catch the football. He might be an offensive weapon here that is very valuable to Arthur Smith and the Steelers offense. Plus, he could probably bring a little bit to special teams as well. So very excited to see John Rhys Plumlee play in the preseason and, of course, in training camp here in 2024. So predict it for me down there in the comment section. Will John Rhys Plumlee make the 53-man roster for your Pittsburgh Steelers? Simply give me a yes or a no for today's pinned comment. YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds. When that happens, take advantage of that time by giving me a yes or a no down there in the comments. Another guy that I'm really looking forward to seeing where he fits in with the Steelers this offseason and heading into the year, of course, Beanie Bishop Jr. out of West Virginia. I'm going to give this one an A as well, because getting a guy like this that obviously the Steelers liked a lot as an undrafted free agent is definitely a good thing. He ran a 4.39, all right? So he is definitely somebody that's fast, but he is undersized, 5'10", 180 pounds, but the production with the Mountaineers last year was legit. 4 interceptions and 17 pass breakups. For an undrafted free agent, this is as much production as you can ever hope for. Now, obviously, the speed is there at 4.39. The speed in all three categories, the 40-yard dash and then both the 20 and 10-yard splits is great. But the short area quicks and, the overall athleticism outside of just speed, not fantastic. And then he doesn't have great size either. So I'm intrigued by Beanie Bishop Jr. here because I think that they're going to try to move him into the slot potentially because he is undersized. But, it worries me a little bit that he doesn't have the short area quickness that usually slot cornerbacks need to have. So it's going to be interesting to see how Mike Tomlin sees Bishop kind of fitting in here. He is undersized, so he can absolutely play slot moving forward. I think they're going to try him out at both, see what he can do. And right now, it's definitely, there's no bones about it here. The Steelers need an answer at the slot cornerback position, whether that's moving Dante Jackson over into the slot and signing an outside corner in free agency, whether that means putting Minka in there, whether that means putting Deshaun Elliott in there, whether that means bringing back Patrick Peterson or Chandon Sullivan or somebody like that. They definitely need to address that slot cornerback position with something here, and Beanie Bishop Jr. definitely has an opportunity to prove himself heading into this offseason program. Now, coming up here, more UDFA grades for your Pittsburgh Steelers. Before I get into those, I want to have a word from our sponsor here at Fanatics, where you can go to chatsports.com/Russ right now and get your very own officially licensed Russell Wilson Steelers jersey available on the Fanatics website right now. These things have been selling like crazy, folks, because, I think Steelers fans are very excited to see what Russell Wilson can do in a Steelers uniform heading into the 2024 campaign. Pretty much his legacy and his NFL life as a starter is going to be on the line in 2024. He's going to have a good group. He's going to have a good offensive line in front of him. He's going to have a couple good backs. He's hopefully going to have a good offensive coordinator to work with. And, of course, we know the Steelers defense is going to have his back as well. So if you believe in Russell Wilson, you want to get his jersey right now, you can go chatsports.com/Russ. I'll put the link to that in the comments and description of today's show so you can get your jersey today. Another name that I'm giving yet another A to here with the UDFA grades here is Dejon Edwards, a running back out of Georgia. And listen, Edwards has played quite a bit at the SEC level, all right? And he had over 800 yards rushing last season, 13 touchdowns in the SEC, over 5 yards per carry. So this is somebody that's definitely been productive in the best conference in college football with a winning program there with the Georgia Bulldogs. And he went undrafted, and the Steelers were able to get him. Now, you look at the running back depth chart right now, it's no question. Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren are going to be your number one and number two backs. That's going to be your dynamic duo. That's going to be your rotation. But you're going to need something kind of on the back end here to maybe have a third running back just in case one or, God forbid, both of these guys get hurt during the season. Now, you have Cordero Patterson, who will probably be the true running back 3 option, plus he'll be the kickoff return man. But Edwards, I think, has an opportunity to maybe show himself as a reliable option as a third option here in this running back room. And I think that he's got a solid chance to be RB3 or RB4 for this team moving forward. Obviously, he's had a winning pedigree there with the Georgia Bulldogs, and he was pretty darn productive this past season. So I'm going to be interested to see if Edwards can fight his way onto the roster in 2024. Now, make sure you guys click that thumbs up icon if you haven't already. If you are pumped for the 2024 Steelers season, I know that I am. If you're with me on that, click that thumbs up icon. And remember, we got that like battle with the Cleveland Browns report today. We don't want to lose that. Click that thumbs up icon if you haven't already to help us beat the Browns. Okay, now Julius Welschof, a former Michigan Wolverine here. He transferred to Charlotte, but he was dealing with injuries last year, didn't play all that much. And, it's definitely a projection, but he's a pretty decent athlete, guys. Now, the speed isn't like elite or anything when it comes to Welschof, so I'm going to give this like a B because we just don't know what we're going to get with this guy, but he's pretty darn athletic. He was highly recruited. He ended up going to the Michigan Wolverines, and he had some production there with Michigan when he was there, but then he transfers to Charlotte, and he dealt with injuries, and, just going into his final college season, that's definitely not the impression that you want to make on NFL GMs and front offices' minds if you're not able to produce and you're not able to get on the field. So I do think it's going to be a little bit of a hill to climb here, but the one thing that Welschof definitely has going for him is that he tested pretty decently at his pro day this year. So you look at all these different things. He's got a couple in the green there, but mostly in the yellow when it comes to his relative athletic testing, and he finished with an 8.94 relative athletic score, which is pretty darn good. That's in the elite category in the green there. So Welschof is definitely somebody that I think is going to have to fight to get on the roster. I do think the Steelers will probably end up signing some sort of edge rusher, a veteran, whether that be Bud Dupree or bring back Marcus Golden. I think Welschof is going to have to beat out whoever that veteran option is at the number 4 spot in this outside linebacker room in order to make the roster. Then the guy that I have the lowest grade on here, Jacoby Windmon out of Michigan State. I'm going to give it a C+. The speed isn't fantastic with Wiman. I got the impression that it was going to be much better than it was. My initial reporting here was that he had really good speed, but at the end of the day, it's just a 4.65, which isn't bad, but, he's got good burst. He had a really good 10-yard split at 1.6, but what really scares me, guys, is the short area quickness and the suddenness that he brings to the table. That shuttle and 3-cone times there in the red, not what you want to see. Same thing with the vertical. So the explosiveness and the overall athleticism outside of the speed here is not something you want to see. Plus, he's a bit short, and he's kind of average in terms of his size there at 235 pounds. But with the collection of talent that you have here, inside the inside linebacker room now with Patrick Queen, Landon Roberts, Cole Holcomb, and now Peyton Wilson. It's going to be, and also Mark Robinson, by the way, who's been on the team for several years at this point. I think it's going to be a tough thing for Windmon to end up making the final roster. I guess we'll see. Of course, he's going to compete and try his best here, and we'll see how he does during the preseason. But out of these 5, I think Windmon probably has the least amount of a chance to make the final roster. Now, let me know down there in the comment section which UDFA has the best chance to make the team. Is it John Rhys Plumlee? Is it Dejon Edwards? Is it somebody else? Let me know. Do you like Beanie Bishop Jr.? Let me know down there in the comment section which UDFA do you think ends up making the final 53-man roster. Now, a little bit of news here in terms of the rookie minicamp. If the Steelers rookie minicamp is coming up, they are bringing some guys in for tryouts. We didn't talk about any of those guys today because they haven't officially signed with the team. But a veteran that they're bringing in and they are inviting to rookie camp here is Anthony Everett, cornerback. He's played in the slot before. He's played with the Ravens. He spent last year with the Detroit Lions practice squad. So he's definitely somebody with a little bit of experience. And it wouldn't surprise me if the Steelers end up bringing him in for the offseason program if he has a nice rookie camp showing. All right, now make sure you guys click that subscribe button for breaking news coverage here from Steelers Talk, where there are some rumblings as at the time of me filming this video that the Steelers might be trading for a wide receiver. So look up for a Cortland Sutton trade or a Deebo Samuel trade or maybe even a Brandon Ayuk trade still. You never know what's going to happen here with the con artists, so make sure you click that subscribe button. And it's very possible here that that this video ends up coming out after a trade happens. All right, so just know that we are recording this before that potential trade went down. So make sure you click that subscribe button if you haven't already. Really do appreciate all of your support. And until next time, here we go, Steelers.